Hello there.
This is the ultimate guide to Death's Door's speedrunning 1.0 edition.
Wow.
Okay, so throughout this guide I am going to explain everything I do as a 1.0 runner, break down the tricks, movement and the fights. I just want to quickly outline though two of the main bits of movement tech we use throughout this run though. So the first one being an arc or an air roll cancel, and the second being a Zoomie or Zoomies, just going fast, and you're going to find out how fast a little later on. These two are used heavily throughout the run, so without further ado, let's get on with it. So to begin the run here, we're not going to see any crazy movement until a little later, so right now all you got to do is roll. Roll like your life depends on it, because it does. And there will be a small little save and quit trick in just a sec that we use quite a lot. There is a lot of dialogue in this game, so we're going to be mashing a hell of a lot. Now, if you're a certain someone,
Wijo.
you'll do something strange like, I don't know, multiple keys to cause some conundrum, I don't know. Or if you're a maniac, you can use square and X in a rhythm to skip dialogue, or just use spacebar. Now a trick right here we do a lot in the run is saving and quitting. Brings you back to the last crow door you were at, but in this case it is the only crow door that's available, so we use this a hell of a lot because we're lazy. On top of that, we've got another very quick trick. Whenever you come out of a crow door, you can walk straight back into it while it's open, interact and go straight through it. Skips a door animation.
Let me in. Let me in.
First problem, we have a gate. We can't walk through the gate, so what are we gonna do? Shoot an arrow through that fucking wall, yeah, fuck you wall, yeah. So swiftly moving on from that, I just want to quickly explain the optimal combo that we like to use in most situations. That being a heavy, light, light combo. It does more damage than your standard light, light, light attack. I'll demonstrate it here with a couple of hits on the Demon Forest Spirit here, but as you can see, the heavy, light, light is able to just out DPS the light, light, light combo. Also, I figured I'd just quickly demonstrate the Demon Forest Spirit here. It's a really easy boss fight. You just basically stand here and just heavy light light, 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 and then you win. So after being assaulted by the Grey Crow and filing assault charges, we're then going to move on and just more rolling, follow the route, rolling, rolling, he's roly, poly, holy. And after this ladder here, just make sure you take this ledge here. It's just a little faster than the stairs. Only losers take the stairs. I mean, we're still on a set of stairs, but... Okay, this right here is an orb. Big deal. I'm telling you. We use these things a lot, and we have an orb routed for them. I'm going to tell you about mine along the way, but basically, long story short, we use them to upgrade our dexterity and strength. Dex helps us move, strength helps us punch harder. And let me tell you, it makes a difference massively through the run. Okay, next trick. Right here, we're going to skip the animation of picking the whole orb up. Now to do this, right as we pick the orb up, we want to press X and square at the same time. Basically, when you press triangle, it's going to create a very small buffer window for other inputs to be inputted. So, as we press triangle, we press square and X at the same time, mash them if you want, and your result should look like this. Some small mandatory mobs you got to take out here. Key here is with the arrows. Further away you can hit them with the arrows, the quicker you can get through to the next section. Smack these dudes about, they've got nothing better to do other than get smacked, to be honest. Now you can get lucky with these last two here, hit them with a single heavy if you can, but most of the time they're separated because they suck. And just to add to that, we're going to quickly pick up this key. Make sure you wait until the icon appears on the screen, and then we're going to save and quit just to respawn some enemies and set up for the next trick. Alright, so allow me to introduce you to this little flying rat right here. This boy is going to help us skip a section early on in the game, using nothing but his big head and this third step from the top. Check this out. For a brief explanation of that trick, you stand on the third step while baiting him up, and right as he's about to hit you, roll towards that corner, and you should just literally pop on top of his head, because he's an idiot. So, onto the Guardian of the Door. Now, there's a couple of different ways of fighting this guy. I'm going to show you my method, and I will link to other methods of fighting him. So, my little format here is I'm going to show you what's going on, and I'm going to tell you at the same time, and then let the fight play. So, opening this up, I want to fire 3 arrows, as fast as I can. Roll straight through that heavy attack into a roll heavy. Then, 2 lights. After the 2 lights, do a heavy light light. You can do 2 of these combos, and then 1 extra hit just as he's leaving. Make sure you are around the back of him though, so that as he leaves, you get blown into the back corner. Okay, so the 2 arrows I fire here aren't that necessary, but it is just extra damage. Then what you can do is roll heavy into him, 2 hits, then roll back and offload every one of your arrows if you can do it. Try to do this quickly though, because then you need to roll heavy back in, which baits the laser back, get a couple more hits, rolling over the laser right as it fires cancels it out. There is definitely a rhythm to this part, and baiting that laser can be quite key. If you mess it up, it kind of throws off the rhythm a little bit. After that last roll heavy, you then want to get 2 regular hits, another roll heavy, and then 2 regular hits, then go back into the heavy light light combo. Then try to move yourself behind him and sort of swap between either heavy light light combos or the roll heavies. Roll heavies work perfectly to dodge his attacks when he spins around to you. It's a kind of a bit of a crack shot by the end there because he's very low on health, so that's why I say interchange between the 2 as it suits your needs. I'd say this fight is a really easy fight to do but a hard one to master. Current patch uses a little bit of a different method that ends up being about a second faster. I'd say this method is easier to learn than the current patch method, but if you really want to squeeze out that time, practice the current patch method. Oh, and also for clarity's sake, this was a debug version of the best fight I could personally pull off, so this isn't coming from my current PB. This orb right here used to be an orb we would grab in the soul route originally. I have substituted this orb for another orb later on down in Castle Lockstone. I will point that orb out when I come to it. But this orb is a little slow, but it is also an incredibly easy orb to grab. Now I have actually changed the orb I got in Lockstone to another one, which I will point out when that happens. Both those orbs are a little tricky to grab though, so if you don't want to grab either one of those orbs, go for this one. I'm going to speed the rest of this up right now because there's not much that's about to happen, so I'll chime back in when I have something interesting to say. Hello, it is me, again, chiming back in with some random tidbits of info about these lovely fine gentlemen right here with bows. They do some interesting stuff, and I want to show you what you can do with that. Pretty spicy, eh? So, This trick is actually really simple to do, and the setup I do to get both of these levers is basically a 100% consistency. What you want to do is make sure you run sort of partially diagonally into the wall and into them, right as they go to lift up their bow. Now, as they're doing that, run into them, and it should just lift you up. Now, occasionally it can go too far and you fly over the top of them, or if another archer is right up against them, that one will sometimes almost overtake the lift you should be getting and throw you off. If you're having trouble being lifted up though, try swapping sides with the archer, especially on curved surfaces. On curved surfaces, you need to try both sides if one isn't working. But just follow the lineup I do here, and this should work 100% of the time. I want to just throw this in here as well. You saw, as I was explaining there, I picked up a seed. That is for any future fights I might struggle with down the line. You lose practically no time grabbing that, other than the time it freezes the camera for a split second. And also, to add to this, you see I smack the archers as well. It is just to get them close to the wall, but you can only hit them twice because their HP is that low. Now this little lad right down here, he can be a problem sometimes. If he is lured out a little too far as you're doing the rest of the setup, he can hit you with a stray arrow. Though normally if you're hugging the wall towards the end, as he begins to fire at you, he'll always hit the hedge and miss, so you're normally okay, but he can be a little scary sometimes.
Why are you running? Why?
So I'm using a better clip here as a good example of what you should aim for, but run past all these guys, take out the grunts and the wizard along the way, then get into this corner. Stand right here, bring the archer up with you, and hopefully he should walk up and stand exactly in this spot. When he does, knock him twice into the wall, and then he's set up really nicely for you. Now in my PB again, this didn't go to plan. I had to kind of do like a makeshift thing on the curvature of the edge instead because I was in a bit of a do or die mood because I thought the run was pretty bad at this point. Oh, and just to add, if the archer doesn't go where you want him to the first time and doesn't stop right at the top of the wall, run back down the stairs, pull him back down, run back up the stairs again, stand in the spot, and just pray that he goes where you want him to. And now what I would argue to be the most important tool to this entire run, the rogue daggers. Alright, yeah, so that was pretty sweet, wasn't it? So, I'm going to teach you how to do that. It is not hard. Let's get into it. So, to perform a Zoomie, you want to hold down your heavy attack, release, carry that momentum, and then just before the animation ends, but a little bit before, while you've still got some speed, pause, reselect your weapon. It's not going to make a sound, unpause. So I'll play it one more time for you, just keep an eye on the inputs here, I'll slow it down. Alright, so now hopefully your brain's absorbed a little bit of information there. We're going to zoom out here, and I want to demonstrate a few different things. One being how to, chain zoomies, a different type of zoomie which we call a Rollslash zoomie, and ways to stop a zoomie once you've actually begun it. Here's an example of a Rollslash zoomie. You do a roll, heavy, and with that heavy momentum you pause again at the right time, reselect your weapon, unselect. This one was kind of pathetic if I'm going to be honest, but it still worked to get the point across. And you can see just here, when I then follow it up, if you've done it correctly, you should then get this strange like double slash that happens, which it makes it even easier to time a Zoomie because the window is much greater. And going straight on from this, now we're going to be chaining the Zoomie. So you can see I can hold down the heavy attack here, and when I let go, it's the same fundamental as the very first Zoomie I showed you. You just pause, reselect your weapon, and unpause, the game does the rest for you. Obviously then as well, if you aim in the direction you'd like, that's how you can kind of get around corners and stuff. What you also might have noticed there though is that I was locked in a single direction. I was holding the direction I wanted to go, but I wasn't moving that way. Because once you start a Zoomie, that's it, you're locked into that direction. Unless you do one of two things. You slash, any type of regular attack will stop you dead in your tracks, or you roll. That does carry some momentum with rolling, so obviously if you're getting near a edge or something like that, make sure you don't roll over the edge. One last thing I want to add to the end of this here is that you might have noticed when we do a Rollslash Zoomie, that when you roll, you seem to automatically do a slash without any attack input. I'll explain that later, but we do use it. Anyway, back to our regularly scheduled speedrun. Now, I'm an idiot, no surprise, but I hadn't realised that I only had one arrow in my quiver here. So what you can do is the second you enter Manor, if you take a little step to the right, you can shoot both of the pots to open the door instantly. Very quick, very nice, very swag. So as we enter the Manor, we are tasked with quite a big problem here. Now this door requires 4 souls, 4 lost crow souls that are stuck within this Manor, never able to return to the Hall of Doors, and therefore have died. Now it is our job as a Reaper to go and reap their souls and save them, get them out of this eternal limbo and bring them peace. Wait. Huh. Well, guess not. So 2 things we're skipping out on here is 1, a clean conscience, and 2, the entirety of Manor using only the corner of this door. Don't ask me how or why, but the hitbox to enter it seems to be sort of in the corner, a little bit of wiggling, and you're through. Okay, so now we are coming up to Ava 1. Avarice, Ava, whatever you want. This chest is the first of 2 chests that we do. We skip over Ava 2, but I'm going to give a bit of a flyby commentary on how we approach the fights in this chest. Okay, so opening up this fight, 2 enemies are going to spawn behind us. I like to wait, because sometimes the pot enemy, the green orb guy, will run and, as you saw there, get a double heavy. Using the green orbs is key in this fight, I tend to find. Get a lot of stuff done faster if you wait that extra second to get the extra damage on. Like the heavy, the wizard there, sometimes I'm able to beat him immediately, other times not. In this case, just 2 heavy rolls was enough. Use of arrows on these pots as well, very, very helpful. I like to do 4 arrows right here to try and tag every single person. I only had 3. If you tag both the grunts, a heavy's enough to knock both of them out immediately. Follow up, just kill these guys as soon as possible. What I do like to do here is, if you can get a green orb left over, it's very nice to hit this guy with green orb. I normally like to stand further back and hit him with a few arrows, but I just decided to be aggressive on this playthrough. Hit him with the green orb again. When these guys group up is when I like to try and knock all of them out, as you see there. And otherwise, yeah. Now a little strat coming up here is when he's close to death, ready, pause as soon as he dies. Once you pause, you're able to stay in this menu, and it allows you to save quit a lot faster. So you just want to button mash on this menu as fast as you can, get through all the dialogue as quick as possible, and then, will you wait a second? Now right as the crown is lowering, we swap to the menu, title screen, bam. Right as the hookshot upgrade text appears. Save quit, back in. Now the reason we want to save quit here is because of arcs. After certain cutscenes, if you try to perform an arc, it causes the arc to go all kinds of weird. You get stuck in midair and yeah. You don't know what an arc is yet. I will get to it. Right, so coming up here is a trick in which boys become men. Now, before we do that, I'm going to make a quick pit stop, grab a couple of upgrades. Going to be 1 strength, 1 dex. Strength to help smack, dex to help move. Let's go. Okay, so for newcomers, I'd say this trick here is the biggest obstacle to overcome. There's a lot that happens here. First off, we have a Zoomie across the barbed rail, all the way down to the very end of the wall. Then onto this platform right here, and then again we move across to this place here, then up the set of stairs, get across this gap right here, up a second set of stairs, and bam, we are at Ava 3. Now the question is, how do we do it? Okay, well first I'm going to show you what has to be the coolest Zoomie in this entire run. Okay, well, sweet Tony Hawk reference, jokes aside, I'm going to quickly show you the lineup that I use to do this Zoomie. It's one that will require a bit of trial and error, and it does take time, but I'd say once you've got it, it is almost a complete, like 100% consistency every time. I'd say the hardest part at that point is just making sure you don't mess up the Zoomie. So, as a newcomer, I would suggest just taking this bit very slowly. I mean, my first couple of runs, I was happy just to get this done in the first 20 minutes. Well, sorry, this trick alone within 20 minutes. Basically, I would use mouse and keyboard for this trick. I would not use controller for this setup. Now, you could do it. Let me try and guess it without mouse and keyboard. Yeah, it's a tough one. Especially because it doesn't quite give you the lineup you want with a controller. So instead, using the mouse and keyboard, it allows that perfect lineup. Now, what I like to do is get my character about here. So you have this little outcrop here that you can see, that dum dum. I like to try and line the character up about here to that. So if I bring myself back up here, I like to come to about here. Now, I'll get rid of all the arrows that I have spent. Once those arrows are gone, it allows me to sort of re-aim a little easier without charging up a shot. Now, once I've done that, I like to aim about here. So, once you're on this rail, line it up to about here-ish. Okay, now if you're having trouble, hold down shift, that will give you more reach and allow you to see further. Now, I'll be honest, with debug I might have bugged the cam, and I'm pretty sure I'm able to see further than I can normally at the moment. I have a feeling normally you can only see to about here, so I normally line up to about here. With shift you can bring it and see it, I think, to about here, so bear in mind my camera might be a little bit bugged at the moment. Regardless, line up to about here. Make sure that when you let go, your hand doesn't knock that aim off the mouse. Once it's about there, charge up a standard Zoomie. There you go. That's the trick for you. Now, second thing to do, as you can see there, I was going quite fast. When you mess that up, sometimes you don't get such a perfect straight line like that. In those situations, it can be nice just to, once you land here, immediately melee, and then just follow the rest here. Or, you know, just swipe at the end to save yourself. Now, step 2 of this trick. I literally only discovered while making this video, I couldn't figure out how a lot of people are able to just do a Rollslash down. I'm an idiot. I realised what people are doing is buffering the slash mid-air. So instead of immediately attacking and causing ground slash like, or ground pound like this, they were instead doing this. Now, what just happened there? If you hit both of your inputs while on ground, it will buffer those inputs. If you do that mid-air, it's going to cause a ground pound. What you want to do, if you watch the controller again and see how I do it, right there, I buffer both inputs while on a solid surface. So it thinks the slash has been performed on a surface, whereas it is being performed in midair. However, if you do it spaced out, this will happen. The game realises, oh hey, you're not on solid ground, so let's perform a ground pound. So perform it while on solid ground, and you'll be fine. Alternatively, you can perform an arc. I will explain how to do that to cross this gap in a second, if you're having trouble doing that, but honestly, once you understand that, you're going to find that a lot easier than doing an arc. Alrighty, so now onto the second piece of tech we use throughout this run, which we call the arc. Now, as stated at the beginning of the video, I was going to do a little showcase on what the arc is and how to do it, so let's move on to that. Okay, so originally I was planning on doing a kind of, showcase on what arcs are, but I suck. I cannot do a technical breakdown of it. There is, however, one person that can. That man is Wijo, and he also did a very nice little guide and video explaining arcs precisely and how they work, all that good jazz. So, instead of me half-arsing the explanation, I am instead going to link you to a video of his that has a far better breakdown. So, give that a look, and a watch, and all that good stuff. Like, do everything, just do all the things. But watch that, and then come back, and you'll understand arcs. So now we're all quizzed up on arcs. You can see there I do one, and then a second arc, and go straight up these stairs. That first arc, again, going back to what I said before, do a buffered roll off of there. That slash movement through the air, much easier. Anyway, we're going to grab this orb now with one of the angled arcs. Here you can see it with camera A and B, looking very spicy, very nice. So now the final obstacle standing between us and Ava 3 is this tiny gap here. It can be crossed in two ways. The first way I'm going to demonstrate here is actually with just a heavy slash. The attack itself gives you enough distance to cover the gap entirely. Now I find this one a little finicky myself, so I'm actually on the side of just doing an arc over this gap. Once you get used to arcs, they've practically become second nature, and this isn't really dangerous, though if you would rather try the heavy slash, because there's no fear of soft locking, do the heavy slash. See right there, the crow tested to see if he could fly. There was a reason for that. Alright, so entering Ava 3 here, I had a pretty unlucky run here, you're gonna see. My controller disconnected and I could not get it working again. And you're going to see right here that I kind of just got slapped about and had a bit of a problem. Nah, I'm only joking. But guess what?
And you've been named.
So, after recovering consciousness, you're going to notice something a little strange. We're in a brand new area. Welcome to Castle Lockstone. Now, when you die in an Ava chest, it gives you the ability to leave. So, we leave, come back to the door that would have taken us to Ava 3. Now, we're here for one reason, to grab a door. Then heading back to Ava 3.
Stop!
So as the town guard from Oblivion has told us to do, we should stop. Now, why should we stop? Well, that's a good question. If you continue to Zoomie down this path and do not stop, you have soft locked your game. That's it. Game over. You want to know why? Meet the Bard. This little curious creature of destruction over here doesn't want to sing a tale of triumph against great adversary. No, they will sing about how they've ruined and took away about 15 minutes of your life because this dude's an arsehole and he's gonna do that to you if you continue to run past him. I'm gonna demonstrate that for you now.
お前はもう死んでいる。何?
If you're wondering what the fuck just happened, basically, we trigger his dialogue, but we can never skip through it, so we're stuck in a permanent limbo. Send help. So now I've warned you about this eldritch beast, I want to make sure that we roll right as we get up to him, queue up his dialogue, press through it, and enter the next room. Grab this crow door for a save point, and then we're going to head straight on back to Ava 3. Head back to that door and wiggle through it, similar to how I showed in Manor. Also, it's funny this run was my PB because the movement early on was so bad. Make sure just before you enter here to swap back to the sword. Okay, so Ava 3. I'm going to do a flyby commentary on this one, and I'm going to do it from a better run I had, so that the fight is a better example of what I want to show. Right, so beginning this straight away, we've got the Red Wizard in the back. There is a combo that can kill him in one go. I don't hit it. If I'd have hit one more combo there, it would have been a game over for the Red Wizard. Now, these grunts, heavy attacks are your best friend. Constantly use them on these guys because you can see it stuns them every single time. Try to get them in a group with a stun. Now, these guys, try to focus them down quickly. If you can use wizard projectiles, smack those into them as well. Just extra damage, and it really helps, to be honest. And also roll attacks to close the distance, very helpful as well. Right, spear guy, you can get a heavy and a single hit pretty safe. You can sometimes get an extra hit after that as well, but you can never get greedy with this guy, so try to sort of keep your distance, close in, go for a heavy and then a light, dodge the spear, heavy and a light while avoiding everything else. And if you do get worried, use the green projectiles as well. That'll deal huge damage to him. Now this guy is interesting. You can be a little cheeky with him and use a green projectile if you have one saved up to smack straight into him for good damage. Otherwise, get behind him and just go back to the good old heavy light light, heavy light light combo. You know the deal. Just watch his knee. His right and left knees are huge hitboxes. So, after Ava 3 just here, we're going to want to do something pretty interesting. We're going to want to commit death. There is a reason for that though. We're going to be spawning back in the last door we left, which was Castle Lockstone. And here we are. Alrighty, so now we're in Lockstone. Gotta be honest, this is quite a lull period of the run. It's just standard movement, lighting the lamps, and then save quitting on some of those lamps. You'll see in the route which ones you need to save and quit on. I'm going to quickly comment now. The very last lamp in this whole thing, I just decided to try something else in my PB. I didn't save and quit, just to test the theory if it was faster to actually just let it play out. It's not faster to let it play out, so save and quit on the very last lamp. You will see. I'll probably point it out as well. And one last comment, to be honest with you. We haven't found a way to skip this whole area yet, and if we do, that would honestly be the holy grail, because this whole section here is quite a slog. And if we found a way to skip this whole thing, it would do amazing things for all the categories. But anyway, yeah, gonna let this play out. Now, as an orb route, this was the orb I was talking about earlier that you can skip out on now, if you wish to, because it's a very awkward and finicky orb to grab. I've now actually substituted this orb for one later on, which I will point out. But yeah, if you don't like getting this one or the other one, go for that sewer orb that I mentioned earlier. By the way, in this room right here, walls don't matter. This was the part I was on about, by the way, that you need to make sure you save and quit here. I just wanted to try something else, but just save quit here like you have with the other couple lamps. By the way, you can zoomie that gap back to the ladder, I just missed it. So as we enter this area, we're expected to go visit Vargo, who is chief of the Camp of the Free Crows. He's going to tell us that we are the destined crow, the one they've all been waiting for, and the saviour that should put the Lord of Doors down for good. Except we don't really care to hear any of that. We're just going to take this bridge straight over, continue on our merry way. A very last arc there, I just want to point out, get quite close to the edge for that one because it is a little bit of a precise arc. It is me, again. So, this right here is going to be one of the hardest sections in the game, I want to say, to speedrun. But before we get to that, I'm going to make a very quick pit stop and grab one last stat upgrade, that being strength. Alright, so hold on to your hats, there's a lot that's about to happen right now. So, we want to roll up onto this roof here, or run along that roof, hook shot, straight over to here. Now once you've done that, run to this marker right here. Perform an arc that puts you onto the roof just there. Move up that roof, and then proceed to run along it, right up until this point just here. Then, zoomie across and land at the bottom of this elevator. Take the elevator up, and there's a wizard, keep him alive, he will be useful. Once you're at the top of this elevator, stand right here, and then arc across to the roof just there. Once you're on top of that roof, hook shot over here, and then stand at this point just here, and perform an angled arc right there. Not asking much here, are we? If for now this isn't your cup of tea, we do have an alternate route, Route B. Now for Route B, we're going to rewind a little bit. Jump across this platform right here. Head up the elevator and down through all this ice area here. till you hit the second elevator. Now head up that elevator, hook across to this spot right here. Now, ice physics. So ice physics and arcs make a pretty good combo. Yep. So we're going to start this off with a pretty crazy arc just there, using the ice. If you want to just follow it around the back, you can. But anyway, follow it down this way, past these icicles, and then straight across this other gap just here. You don't have to do that arc if you don't want to, by the way. Again, you can just follow it round. Straight across, pretty much the standard route you would take this way, except now when we come up to this point just here. See that seed and that distance? We're going to make that with just a single arc. Now, you're probably wondering,
This looks faster. Why wouldn't we do that?
it actually is about 20 seconds slower. So, yeah, the other route, faster. So, let's check the route out now after we've explained it. Also wanted to quickly point out that wizard I told you to keep alive earlier, the reason we want to keep him alive is that the following arcs are quite difficult. If you take damage from any source, it will unsoftlock you. So that wizard can be kind of a handy get out of jail free card if you do happen to softlock yourself. Alrighty, so time for, I'm going to say, the hardest arena fight in the game, and another flyby commentary. Starting off here with heavy attacks on the grunts. Like I explained earlier, heavy attacks, perfect for them. Wizard projectiles next. Try to, well, I guess, reflect as many projectiles as you can. Close the distance in on those wizards as fast as possible. Now, green pot guys, projectiles again. You can use these to your advantage. Kind of failed a bit there, but yep. Again, heavies to keep the grunts in check. And try to take out that archer if you can fairly soon, because projectiles can hit you when you least expect it. Now, these jumping guys and plants. First, get rid of that plant. Try to get onto this corner if you can. Take out these grunts next. Then, focus this guy down as fast as possible. The moment he goes down, arrows from here to the other plant. Sets you up nicely for the two archers that spawn here. Take these guys out. Now, for the two worst enemies in this entire part, the knights. Their hammer attack has a huge hitbox, so 2 hits in and a roll. What you want to do is go 2 light attacks, roll away, roll back, 2 light attacks, roll back in, or you can use the hook shot, vice versa, so you can do 2 hits, roll away, hook shot back. Probably that combo would be the better one, but yeah, be patient with those guys and you should be fine. I now would argue that you have now beaten the hardest arena fight in the game. And I'm going to be honest, the combat encounters get a little easier from here, so if you're this far, well done. So if you've lost any health now, I want you to grab this door, enter, and leave again, just to restore your health. It is now time for one of the first of the 3 giant soul boss fights. Betty. Now, do you remember back when we explained zoomies, I told you about Rollslashes? We're going to be using that now. Basically, it is a slash that happens when you roll. Now, if you've been doing zoomies with the roll to start it, you've probably already noticed that happening. And that's literally it. What you're seeing isn't me doing a slash after the roll, it's just a strange adverse effect of doing the Rollslash zoomie, allowing a slash to happen every single time you roll, but it does count as a hit. So, when we proceed into the Betty fight, I'm going to do another flyby commentary on what I'm doing, but you're going to see why that comes in handy. Okay, when we begin this fight, we want to start off with a hook shot. You want to wait for just a split second and then hook shot so you don't get hit by Betty's like automatic fist swipe that you see happen there. When you then close that distance, as you're closing, spam square to get a hit immediately as you come out the hook shot, and then follow it up with 2 quick hits and then a roll. It's going to be a very common theme of about 3 hits and then a roll, and you will see. So as you then roll, you're going to see you do a slash, and that is the big thing about this fight, is you're not losing DPS. Immediately then follow that up with 2 hits if you want to play it safe, though sometimes if you've got enough time you can get 3 hits. But if you want to play it safe, go for 2 hits and then follow it up with another roll. Now Now, as you saw just there, as Betty jumped, I moved slightly forward and then turned around and did just a regular R2 tap heavy. So I didn't hold it down, just a regular tap heavy, and it puts you back into position to then get 2 to 3 slashes again and then roll under Betty's attack. With this part in particular, you can sometimes get 4 slashes as well if you are very quick. And then it is pretty much from this point onwards a rinse and repeat of everything I've just said. Now, keen-eye viewers might have noticed something a little odd just happened here. We've skipped the roll phase. Now, with the current setup, with the 2 strength that we picked up, it allows us to skip the roll phase that Betty would do because we push her underneath 25 health before she does the final jump to then decide if she's going to do a roll attack or the boulder attack. And with our current combo and setup, we can skip it. And with this boulder attack, you can literally stand exactly where you are and just attack until she drops, because the tantrum attack that she does won't actually hit you if you're standing directly underneath her. So go ham, just don't get hit by a boulder. And now we're here, we've beaten Betty, 2 more bosses to go. Well done. So, next part here is, want to head back to the door as soon as possible. Once we're in, it's pretty much just standard movement because it's going to teleport us towards the Lord of Doors cutscene. For ease of viewing again, I'm just going to speed this up because it is just standard movement and big cutscene. So, I'll chime back in when we've got something cool to discuss. So I just want to quickly explain another trick as we land here. Just before you grab the next dex upgrade, before you press interact, hold down heavy and release and press triangle just as you release. And you're going to see that's what that strange thing I've been trying to do every time we talk to him is. It allows you to preserve the momentum similar to a Zoomie, but instead it's like an exponentially faster speed in one go. And to follow that up, as we head to Cemetery, we need to quickly save and quit straight as we come out this door, and then load back in. Reason being is that after certain cutscenes, at least in 1.0, it causes arcs to bug out, similar to like I described earlier on with saving and quitting after Ava 1. Now follow the route I take here, an angled arc, 2 orbs, and straight to the gondola. Alright, so Forest lasts about a total of 30 seconds, give or take. Pull this lever, hopefully first time. Follow this route down here, and I'm going to quickly explain the skip you're about to see. This first part's very easy. What you're going to want to do is angle yourself like this, and Zoomie straight into the wall. Zoomie carries you to the bottom of the wall, roll straight out, now you're out of bounds. Guess what? We're now where we filmed the Zoomie segment. Anyway, hug this wall, and head straight up here. Now you're going to get to these 2 trees. Once you get to these 2 trees, you want to angle yourself a little to the right here and zoom straight down. Now you're going to have 2 decks, so you're going to move very, very fast. So be sure when you go over to get ready to ground slam like this, in case you go too far, because if you go too far, you're going to skip over the load trigger and soft lock. Now in case you are worried about falling infinitely, way back you saw there was a door. Grab that door if you want to make sure that in case you softlock you don't have to go all the way back to Cemetery. Now Flooded Fortress, this is where a lot of runs would come to die back in the day. Now for 1.0 we've kind of refined it quite nicely. There isn't really any RNG now left into it, unless you want to count the cow hook shot, which I don't really think is RNG, it's just its position can be a bit strange sometimes. Anywho, it's quite hard movement around here. It involves a lot of like precise zooming if you want to go really quickly. Other than that, very easy. Now coming up we have a little checkpoint where we can go through the door, get health back if we need to, and this happens. So yeah, grab health if you need it, and let's push on. Right, now on to the madness that is Flooded Fortress. First off, hookshot that guy. Now, pull the lever, Kronk. And back round. I'm going to try and avoid these three here. We can arc straight here if we're quick. Now if you want to deal with those three, be my guest. Hit that button though straight afterwards. In case you die, that button allows you to get access quickly back. And then pull that arc right there. It's a fairly easy arc with Dex. Now, this cowboy right here, not literally a cowboy, but you know what I mean, you can hookshot them. Now, sometimes they're closer, but what I've found is that if you get close enough, you can typically hookshot them every time. Now, a lot of people say otherwise, and they'll take an opposite route. But I think you just need to get close enough in most cases, and you can hookshot the cow. In 99% of cases, I think people are just too scared to waste time on trying. Okay, so if you really can't make that way work for you, and you want to try the alternate route, here is your alternate route. So, instead of just going straight across from there, come down here. You're going to have these two grunts and a wizard, but there is your best friend the archer, appearing right again. Now, quickly dispose of these guys. And then what you're going to want to do, after taking out this last grunt, stand here. Now the archer's going to keep trying, but if you stand here, he's going to move forwards. Now, use your hook shot, push him right into this spot just here. And then we do the archer lift, straight on top, cross, and we're home free. Now, I don't think I have to say, but yeah, this way is a fair bit slower, so try to make that cow hook shot work if you can. Now, we're following this straight up with, I would argue, a fairly precise arc here, but it isn't too bad with 2 decks. Just try to land it exactly like this, and if you get the ground pound right, the bridge spawns under you, so you don't have to even worry about falling. Now, tried to dodge the wizard projectiles, and you can see that I just tried to do a light heavy slash onto that brickwork. That's exactly what you want to do. Exactly like that, heavy slash on, hook shot over to this switch. Now if you want to deal with the wizards from here, go for it, or the switch before, feel free, if you think you're going to get overwhelmed in combat. But walk straight up here, and arc right across to here. Okay, there is a lot that happens in this fight, so I'm going to try and describe it quickly, but remember that seed we got in a state? You might want to use it here if you still have it at this point. So, swap to the sword, hook shot to this guy in the center, hook shot back to the archer, hook shot back to the guy in the center, and then hook shot to the grunt. And then you can hook shot to the jumping guy again, or just use roll heavy to close the distance. Then go for the archer, and then go for the grunt. Once they're both taken out, get to this mage that spawns, take him out as fast as possible. Hook shot back to the center, hits in as you can, hook shot to the other jumping guy, and then back again. Now you want to try and take out both these jumping guys while they're on the platform at the same time. This grunt lines up for a nice easy hit there. Now you've got both the jumping guys taken out. Take care of the archer, followed up by the grunt, and then the wizard, and that's it. It's a very fast fight, but if you can get a rhythm down similar to that, be aggressive, you'll do well. Alrighty, now it's on to the second boss soul. Now if you do need health, quickly grab it and through this door. Let's begin. Okay, now it is time for the boy, the Frog King himself. So, I guess I gotta do it, don't I? Alright. Here goes. King of Swamp, guarding the flooded fortress, lord of his domain, ruler of the woolly surveyors, champion of the people, keeper of the 5 O's, first of his name, second of his other name, he is with that middle initial, all mercy, destroyer of those with question his rifle, roll looking at askance, eater of the vanquished, devourer of the indolent, guzzler of the non-committal, bestower of the rifle, opprobrium, and fount of the most wondrous beneficence, all glory to him and his mace, holy basher of the toads and the frogs, but really what are toads anyway, like worse frogs, right, uglier too, smartest creature in the land, but really clever like that Einstein guy, but more handsome, okay, hit the word count. So about a week of recovering later, let's actually get on to the boss fight now. Okay, so just to pause this fight before it starts, I actually ended up taking a break from the game in general and just this video because it was a massive project and I'd never done anything like this before. I was getting very burnt out. Anyway, I came back and was just glitch hunting in the game for a little while, and I happened to just find a brand new strat for the Frog King. An entirely new way to fight him that is arguably safer and faster. So let's get into it. I'm actually going to pull a clip that isn't from my PB because I keep messing the timing up, but the first phase you can do this. Pretty nifty, right? Game was out for so long and we never realised we could do that until a certain someone called Vets Hunter said, hey, look what I found. So you're going to see in the original clip there, just as I was doing the old style of fight, I'm on the left side of the arena. You actually want to go to the right side, and two little things are going to happen. One, I go to the right side, but two, on occasion you can actually get a double hit when you go behind the frog here. So you'll see in my example I do get a double hit. Don't expect to get that every time. I'm not entirely sure how that happens, but yeah. Anyway, right side and follow as I do. Bear in mind, if you don't do the double hit, which you probably won't, you just need to shift down one tile and just do the trick again. And once you've moved on to the next phase, you then want to perform the arc straight up to this wall. Once at the wall, zoomie down right to this spot, come round, and then you'll want to lunge as far as you can round the corner, drop down, and once you've dropped down, there's a couple of weird sort of invisible barriers. Just follow the route I do, gets you out of those invisible barriers, and make a beeline straight for the Frog King. And then you want to perform the triple hit and heavy. Triple hit and heavy. That is the fastest way to do damage, at least with the daggers when it comes to DPS. Okay, so as the Frog King transitions to the other side of the stage, you're going to want to zoomie straight over to him to keep the distance nice and close. Continue the combo. However, when he starts launching bombs, you're going to want to do 2 hits and then a heavy to the right, 2 hits, heavy to the left. Keep that going until he drops, and if he does make it to the other side, just rinse and repeat. And just like that, the Frog King is dead. Okay, so I'm just going to speed this up, but basically, save and quit, back to the Hall of Doors, grab a strength upgrade from Darwin, try and get that little interact zoomie I told you about again, and then we're going to want to head back to the Ceramic Manor, the final giant orb boss. So, I'm just going to continue to speed this up. It's pretty standard movement in here, but remember when you grab this key to make sure that you wait until it appears, and then we're going to save and quit, straight down into the basement. I'm going to speed up a fair bit of the basement as well until I've got some key points to show, but again, all pretty standard movement, nothing too special. Okay, remember back in Lockstone when I grabbed that orb that was kind of awkward on the stairs? This is the one I've now substituted for. All you need to do is arc over to it and then hookshot back onto the ball platform. That's it. A lot easier, trust me. Very quick time save here, by the way. Just position yourself like I do and then fire a shot straight into the furnace, and you can basically have this whole door animation open while this cutscene plays. It's a very nice time save. So now, as we enter the main furnace, I want to introduce you to what has to be the coolest skip in this game so far, Furnace Skip. So, for context, everything you are currently seeing is everything we skip over for Furnace Skip. Now, I am not going to bother teaching you any other way other than Furnace Skip. It's one of those tricks that require just a little bit of practice, and it is very easily replicatable, and once you've got it, you've got it. So now, as you're aware, you can just see for yourself how much this skip skips on. So, I'm going to play it out for you now, and break it down for you afterwards, and we'll go through it all. And you know, just for the hell of it, I'm going to play these side by side, just so you can see how much faster this skip is compared to that normal route. So yeah, I'd like to think that's pretty obvious there, that going to skip is pretty fast. So now, let's actually get into what we have to do. Okay, so generally speaking, the movement isn't difficult here. It's more precise than difficult, if anything. So, to start this off, you want to take the lift up right here, and then drop down on top of this lamp. Stand about where I do, and arc straight onto the wall just here. Now, once on the wall, you want to get up on one of these little parts that poke upwards. It gives you just enough height to then make it onto the rock just here. Now get fairly close to the corner, but not too close because you will fall off, and line up with this angle and arc. Now the arc should push you up the yellow colliders that are the hitboxes for these rocks, and you should land. And once you've done that, then proceed to arc this direction into the other yellow collider right here. Now make sure you stand right where I'm standing, arc in this direction, and it will pop you on top of the little purple hitbox right here. Then casually walk across and you will hit the load trigger. Once you've hit that load trigger, head to about this spot and do not go any further than this spot or you will fall into the void, and then do one more arc in this direction and you are home free. Well done, you've just done furnace skip. And now the reward for that is just more standard movement up to Grandma. Get ready, we're going to beat up an old lady. Now we move on to our final giant soul. The old lady herself, Grandma. Okay, so as we're winding up to start this fight, I am going to be honest with you. I do not have this fight boiled down to a formula, unlike the other fights. I'll talk you through my procedure and thoughts, but this fight for me is not boiled down to a formula yet. Two very quick notes I want to make about the fight. She has two types of pots that she throws. Green pots, which act like the regular green soul orbs that you're familiar with, and the purple pots, which are just standard explosive pots. She can be damaged by both. So when she throws her purple pots, you typically want to stand close so she will damage herself. Before you trigger the cutscene for Grandma, I'd swap to the hook shot if I were you, because that is the only thing you're going to be using in this fight to close the distance. Now like I said, I don't have this fight down to a very good formula yet, and a lot of my attacks just involve basically hook shotting and going for as many light attacks as I possibly can, and maybe hitting Grandma with a explosive pot, or if she fires a green orb, hitting her with a green orb, and then hook shotting to her next location, and basically rinse and repeat. Now if you want a really good strategy on this, I would really recommend checking out No Major Glitches, and some of the current patch runners, they have a better understanding of this fight than I do, but again I'll talk you through what I do. So if you have your hook shot equipped, like you should, you want to immediately start off by hook shotting Grandma and spamming square and trying to get in as many hits as you possibly can. You can actually also hit her while she's teleporting out as well. If you are up close to her and attacking her and she throws a purple pot, stay close to her, let the pot explode on her. Obviously dodge the explosion. Now when she uses her green orbs, try to position yourself in a way to be able to hit the green orbs back at her, preferably with a heavy attack as well, because it does huge damage. Now in my PB I did not have a very good run of this, but if you can manage to knock every single green orb into her, it means massive extra damage. Okay, so you see how right here she fired 3 sets of green orbs. there can be multiple variations of everything that just happened here. Now, if you haven't done much damage to her, she will fire multiple explosive orbs. If you've done good damage to her, she will fire the green orbs, more preferable scenario. And then you see when she dances away, if she dances away like that, and fireballs come out on top of that, that means you have done even more damage to her, which means now she is even lower on health. Now, after she does that little dance to the side, it'll always be the same pattern, where she jumps back into the pot. And basically jumps around and stomps about. When she stomps about here, you can actually get one slash, move to the side, one slash, move to the side, one slash, move to the side, till then she buries back into the pot. Now basically, if you've done good damage, this is where you want the fight to end. You want to go back to the good old heavy light. And boom, that is Grandma down. That is all 3 giant souls down, 2 more bosses to go. So head back through the door, and we want to head straight back to Lost Cemetery, and we're going to go meet up with the Grey Crow. And promptly beat the shit out of him. Okay, so we got a massive cutscene coming up right now, and as far as we know there isn't any way to skip it and head straight into the boss fight. Speaking of the boss fight though, we have the Grey Crow coming up. Now the Grey Crow is a bit of a loose cannon when it comes to bosses for some people. This is either where the run dies for a few, or it's a cakewalk. And it's a little hard to sort of have a specific formula with the Grey Crow, because he's quite a random character, and you'll see in my PB how we go about it. So, Grey Crow. Right as we start, it's pretty much the same for everybody here. I want to walk to the side, and immediately hook shot, try to get in 3 hits. Basically that is the majority of the fight. Every time he strafes past you, you're going to want to hook shot into him as fast as possible, 3 hits, dodge roll, repeat. You do not want to go any more than 3 hits, because getting greedy in this fight is what the instant downfall is, basically. Now just in these couple of clips alone you'd notice something a little bizarre going on. Little heads popping out of the crow. This is our ticket to a fast kill. The more of these you can knock into him, the better. Now they work like any other projectile. The only issue is there is one random element to them. Sometimes they can spawn on top of you when they come out. That'll be instantaneous damage, and there's no way around that sometimes. But if you're able to get heavy attacks off on these, or light attacks regularly, you will drop him fast. I'm not going to detail his attacks too much, they're fairly telegraphed and easy to read. It's more just watching your surroundings, making sure the heads don't come up behind you and trap you in an attack or something. Oh, and also you can get a cheeky hit on him with the heads as he's flying past you with his own hook shot right here, so go for him if you think you can. Now I do apologise that this guide isn't quite as concise as maybe some of the other ones, but you can kind of see that it's a little chaotic. There isn't really much control over what he does, except for this bit. The crow basically has 3 thresholds of health, and each one is started with either him screaming and just getting angrier like this, or 2, he screams and then throws up a literal black hole, and 3, he'll scream and send out a literal murder of crows. These 3 moments are when you want to get your damage in as hard as you can. This is also a great moment to try and get those projectile, the heads chasing you, and heavy those into him while also heavying him at the same time. So you're getting double the amount of damage in one go, and this just adds up exponentially. And if all succeeds, that's the Grey Crow fight. Straight after beating him, by the way, you can just save and quit the moment he drops. It ends up being a few seconds faster than just waiting for the transition to happen. Now, my friends, we are on the home stretch. Straight after this cutscene, we want to save and quit, load back in, head straight back into the Hall of Doors. Now, whilst the crows are getting all angry about work things, we want to, straight after this cutscene, roll straight up to Darwin and grab one upgrade right before this next transitional cutscene happens. Now, if you do it quick enough, you can see right here, we can do an upgrade while this happens. Small little time save, but we want to grab our last strength upgrade. Then another save and quit, just to get ourselves right by the door. Now, important notice with this door, do not try to get through it quickly like you do any other door. You will just end up behind the door. Wait for this one to shut, then open it normally, like you would a regular door without any trick. Just a quick addendum here, you can actually use a heavy attack to get through that door. Just make sure the door shuts before you do it, and it is faster to heavy slash through the door. Just thought I'd point that out. So after being nominated as the crow to go ask for a pay rise, we want to do one of two things here. Make sure you have your daggers equipped and set up a Rollslash attack like you did with Betty. We're going to be using it a lot in this fight. And just an FYI here that you can also use the sword for this fight. I think it comes down to preference, what you feel more comfortable dodging the combos with, either daggers or sword. I think sword probably ends up being a few seconds quicker, but I'm far more comfortable with daggers. So only seconds later after being made redundant, first thing you want to do is hookshot straight into him. Close that distance and immediately open up with a potential 6-hit combo. If you spam square while hookshotting in, you can sometimes get a hit, so it's either going to be a 6 or a 5-hit combo. Now following up here, it is constant 5-hit combos if you are fast, otherwise 4 is pretty much safe, and the roll, try to roll into him to get that slash to hit, it'll only add to the DPS. And to end this section, just stand where I'm standing, he will jump back down and it's not going to hit you, just hit him a few more times the moment he lands, and then straight through the door, on to the next part of the gauntlet. Okay, so a couple of tips to outline these running sections. Zoomie when you can, and that the bull doors that he summons can actually be rolled through, so use that to your advantage. That also involves hookshotting. You can hookshot through the bull doors. Now I don't get it in my PB and I want to start using it more to my advantage because it is a few seconds saved, but when the Lord of Doors summons the door, right as he clicks, the door trigger actually spawns before the animation plays. Now if you are standing under that trigger, you will automatically be spawned to the next location. I'll put a link in the description of someone who showed the exact spots of where to stand for each door trigger. Okay, so these fights are basically just DPS checks, and they work exactly the same way I explained in the first fight. There are little special moves that he does for each location, but if you are fast enough you can skip them, except for the third one, but I'll explain that when that happens. Just very quickly, the red potions he summons don't damage him in either fight. Not gonna lie, the zoomies here are quite precise. Try to do them against the walls, and if you do get stuck on the bull door, don't panic, just time your rolls and you'll go straight through them. For this last bit here, Zoomie up against the bus in a diagonal fashion, you'll dodge everything and go at the speed of light. Once again, DPS check. Now if he does start his actual special attack in this area, let him jump over you, get behind him and hit him twice, and then just rinse and repeat. Just a quick tip about this area, if you do get caught up on a bull door and it hits you as the platform is about to fall, just do not zoom me out of it, roll and continue going forwards and try to stay chill, and remember that if you're going to get caught by another bull door as you're trying to escape, just roll through it. And one last DPS check here, except you cannot avoid the roll attack. The roll attack is inevitable, so just let the roll attack happen. Make sure that you can then get yourself to the door as quick as possible after then hitting him when he's done. Now the final gauntlet run, just get through here safely and you get a checkpoint. Alright, well done. You've made it this far now. It's time to seal the deal. The Lord of Doors is the only thing that stands between you and your finished run. So, let's get to it. The only thing I'm going to ask you to do here is to make sure you have the Rollslash, because once again, we're going to need it. Right, so to kick this fight off, we're going to spawn right in front of him. So immediately, open up swinging. Now this is one of the few times where you'll get to hit a little more than you'd get to normally, because now his regular combo has sped up. Now it's sped up enough that the 5-hit combo, no chance anymore. So here you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Roll. 1, 2, 3. Roll. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is pretty much as close to the most combos you can get with the dagger in one go. Obviously you saw that I didn't hit my roll slashes, but if you do, extra damage. Now bear in mind that was just the opener here. You do not get that much time when the fight has truly started up. Now if he does a potion attack like this is a great moment to get lots of damage in. Again, just go ham with your combo. Just stick with the lights when using a dagger. Now obviously he'll then swap back to his regular combo and it becomes a little bit harder of a mix up, but again, minimize the amount of combos that you do here, so probably down to about 3, maybe 4 at the most. Okay, whenever he finishes a combo, this animation right here is a big fat red flag. Get ready to dodge. He's about to do a backslash, and a very fast one at that. You can actually bait this attack a surprising amount of times, and it can be kinda nice if you get very good at dodging this to use this attack to your advantage and keep damage on. So if you time your roll correctly, you can roll into him, get a slash, a couple of hits, and if you do it right, you can move behind him and have him loop in this for a few cycles. Small trick for that attack right there, if you spam attack and roll at the same time, it doubles up on the inputs to break out quicker. Alright, so for this attack right here, this is what you would see in the Gauntlet run-up for phase 2, if you didn't DPS check him well enough. Now again, you'll see my example here. When he jumps, get behind him, hit him twice with the daggers. He jumps, get behind him, hit him twice with the daggers. If you hit him 3 times, you risk getting too close, clipping into him and taking damage. Pretty sure this is just a health bar check at this point, and it is a very easy attack to dodge. Just bait the laser like I do, roll through into it, similar to the Guardian of the Door. You see this animation start up, run away, hook shot back right as the orb opens up, then get the hits back in. Alternatively, you can roll if you time it correctly, but that's hard. One last final note, he has a roll attack, very easy to dodge. And that is all she wrote. This is where we hit the time. Well done, that's the run finished. There's been a couple of small rule changes, I think, recently. They're a little laxed on it, but I will say from this point, watch through the credits if you wish to submit the run, and then show your in-game time at the end, and that's it. You've done everything. Run completed. Okay, so this is going to be really messy, but I just wanted to quickly add this in as like a two-parter for an outro here. But the in-game timer is no longer required. I'll just put a picture up so you can read it for yourself, but basically it just requires the live split timer at this point, so you can just kill all the doors, end the run there. You don't have to sit through the credits unless you want to. Anyway, on to the next part. Alright, so I believe that is just about everything now. I've got a few things I want to mention as this ends. First thing is the first chase of Lord of Doors, I found an actual clip for the very first door. There's basically an instant door clip for all of them except for the very first chase. I'll just chuck that on screen so you can see that here. This is done on the current patch. With the 1.0 patch you can't roll up the side, instead you have to use like a heavy slash to get up on the top of the wall. Easy enough anyway. Use debug as well to film and do the camera work for a lot of this, and as well for practicing tricks and things like that. Debug is hugely helpful. If you want more information on that, you can actually just go straight to the Discord, which I will link below. The Discord is super helpful. Everybody in there is really nice. Everyone can help you out. It's just a good place. Apologies that the video is as long as it is. It's a very long video, and I didn't want it to get too long, but also at the same time I wanted to try and explain things in a pretty okay way. I tried to do both, keep it short and explain well, but I think it just ended up going on and on. But I gotta start somewhere, I suppose. And also, I did mess up massively. I finished a first draft of this whole thing and uploaded that to YouTube as like a private thing, just to get people to check it out. And I didn't work on the video for a few months, and then I actually ended up just I was clearing my C drive and I ended up deleting all the video clips without realizing I'd just completely nuked the timeline that I was working on. And yeah, so I kind of had to then botch job together using the first draft I'd done to try and finish this whole thing up. So for instance, the Frog King, it was a bit weird there in that fight. You may have noticed in the recording, the voices are a bit different, but also it's just a bit choppy and not very nice, because I had to cut from just a single timeline, blah 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 blah. But yeah, so also I apologise if the voices there sound a bit weird sometimes. I recorded over with voiceover from now and a couple of months ago, so there might be a difference in how I sound. And yeah, I just hope in general that the video was watchable. Put it out there and see what happens. Let me know. I would like to know if this was actually worth the time or not. I definitely enjoyed aspects of it, but I would not make something this long again for a while, because Jesus Christ, it absolutely burned me out. But yeah, otherwise I'm going to end it there, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Bye.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you.